I think fulfillment is a feeling that is more than just a momentary pleasure.
I'm starting to learn more and more about myself as I give myself that permission slip to honor what my needs are and honor where I'm not maybe feeling as fulfilled. And by just asking myself that question, 0 to 10, how fulfilled do I feel lately? Conscious couples, business partners, and singles committed to attracting their dream partner. Welcome to the Conscious Couples podcast, where we share our life, love story, and combined relationship expertise to help you create and consistently cultivate the most magnificent, intimate relationship possible.
Never again will you feel hopeless and alone in your intimate relationship challenges.
Having accumulated thousands of hours coaching conscious couples and individuals all over the world, as well as starting and growing a global business together, Alan and I are here to guide you in all things relationships.
Thank you again for tuning into the one place where it's not about you or me, it's about the we. Conscious couples and singles from all over the world, welcome back to the Conscious Couples podcast. We have episode number 84, How Fulfilling Has Your Relationship Been Lately? As always, thank you so much to our production team over at Next Level Podcast Solutions. We appreciate you so much for producing this show and 49 others. The numbers are climbing. So if you have a podcast or want to start a podcast, grow a podcast, reach out. But without further ado, my love, as always, ladies first, what is your intention for today's episode?
My intention for today's episode, for our listeners, is to have this episode help give each one of you the permission slip you might be seeking to go fill those dang cups.
Oh.
And we have a whole episode about cup fillers if you want to click into that after this one. Strongly recommend. But yeah, let's give them that permission slip that they desperately need.
Okay, so first and foremost, I told Emilia that I was going to share with our listeners where I'm at right now. So it is Sunday. It is 9:00 p.m. And we went on an adventure today, which was awesome.
It was amazing.
It was an amazing adventure. We went to the ocean. We're going to talk about it. But I want to say, first and foremost, I am just beyond cooked. But Emilia and I are going to show up for the listeners.
As a matter of fact, I want to ask you something to help even show up for the listeners more and demonstrate when you might not be as fulfilled, what language you can integrate into your relationship to express that. Babe, 0 to 10, where are you at?
Oh, 3 probably.
Okay. Where are you headed? Up or down?
Down.
At what rate?
Fairly steady, slowish, slow down.
Okay.
Yeah. Slow down. So what Emilia just demonstrated there, to lead by example, is what we do often when we find each other in a less resourceful state. We'll ask, where's the other person at? And you can intuitively tell when your partner's not in a good place.
Struggle bus.
Yeah, struggle bus. So right now I'm on the struggle bus. I just want to make that clear. But this episode, Emilia and I were on our walk and our hike by the ocean, and we were asking ourselves what we wanted to talk about today. And what we talked about essentially was, I have this client who recently this week, I think it was Thursday or Friday, and she said, me and my husband are doing awesome. I do this thing in my coaching where I have, where are you winning? In other words, what in your life does have momentum? So fitness was one of them. Finances is one of them. And then I have the flip side of that question, which is, where do you not have momentum? Where are you coasting or losing momentum? And she said, I think my relationship. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And she said, we're really good. We're the best we've ever been, but I'm afraid to tell him I'm kind of bored.
Yeah.
We've been kind of doing the same old. We're married now. We have a house, and we've been eating the same food. I need some variety. I want to do some more stuff. And so that got me thinking a lot. And then Emilia and I were on the walk today, and we talked about our own relationship and how lately we've been just grinding. Today is the reason we're recording this on a Sunday night. Typically we don't do that, but it's because during the week I came to Emilia and I said, sweetheart, today is just jeffed. Jeffed, for those of you who are new listeners, is my kinder way to say effed. And so this last week was the most productive, successful week that I've ever had, but I was just cooked, and I saw us on the calendar, and I came into Emilia's office and said, babe, I need to pivot. Can we please do this on Sunday instead? And so that's what happens essentially. And lately we've been grinding a ton, and Emilia has not been feeling as fulfilled because we haven't been traveling much. We haven't been hiking as much. We haven't been doing adventures as much. And early in our relationship together, we did a lot of going to the lake. We did a lot more adventures. And now we're kind of grind time because we're both looking forward to purchasing another home in the next year. And we have these big, massive goals. And so for those of you who are out there resonating with this, are you feeling a little bit like your cup is not overflowing? And if so, we're going to check in with how to basically take your cup fillers and try to incorporate them more into the grind.
Huge. So I just wrote down on my remarkable faux, because Alan and I recently, like this last week, we made a huge change in our relationship. And I'm like giggling over here because it, to many people, might not be a big change, but when you are grinding, or let's say, for example, after years of marriage, or there's a lot of monotony and consistency in your life, which is great, and that's great for building. But when you're not really doing things or spicing things up, or it's just the same old, there's a part of you that just feels so caged by it. And I'm giggling over here because that little change that we had made, which was finding faux bowls. So any foodies out there that are listening to this, you're going to absolutely adore faux bowls. They're amazing. So anyways, we changed up the way in which we eat, because now that is a prized possession. And why I bring that into this episode is because the fulfillment around the relationship recently, Alan's, one of his biggest cup fillers is food and good numbins. And that's something that we're really good at, doing the chicken and rice and having the monotony there and the same old. And there was a part of him that has been searching and checking in with himself around whether or not he was fulfilled in this arena. And here's what, when we're not fulfilled in our personal cup fillers, that ends up kind of creeping into, by default, into our relationship. And so us now having faux bowl noodles one click away to be able to deliver this delicious food, that literally and metaphorically spices up what we're eating. And so that adds an element of novelty in our life that has been really fulfilling in many big and small ways in our relationship. Whereas for me, the biggest cup filler for me was adventures. And I'm a big adventure fan. So like, babe, you had said we did a lot of that at the beginning of our relationship. We're grinding. So one small change around the faux bowls, that has a huge impact for you. Just like today, when we really, instead of grinding like we typically do, we just put a pause and we said, let's go for an adventure. And we went to Bluff Point State Park and near Groton, Connecticut. Just absolutely beautiful. That I'm sitting over here, my honey's cooked, and I feel that, but like, y'all can see me on the podcast. I'm like a beaming light.
I'm grateful that you're super lit up. I don't want to bring you down right now. I'm struggle bus.
Well, you can have some of my life, but that's the thing where, for our listeners, like I said, I want to give each one of you that permission slip, because ultimately for Alan, it was faux noodles and faux bowls. For me, it's an adventure, and I'm starting to learn more and more about myself as I give myself that permission slip to honor what my needs are and honor where I'm not maybe feeling as fulfilled. And by just asking myself that question, 0 to 10, how fulfilled do I feel lately? Mm-hmm. And for our listeners, like, I really want to encourage each one of you to check in on that question for yourself and to be honest, because living a life where you're dishonest with yourself, that you're kidding everyone, and it's just not fair to yourself.
If you're not fulfilled in your life and in your relationship, it's one of those things where you aren't going to be able to build and to achieve your dreams and to achieve your goals and to be a good mother or a good father and to be a good friend or a good parent or a good spouse if you're not fulfilled. Yeah. At the end of the day, even right now, I want to be vulnerable and just honest. I am not capable right now of being a great podcaster or a great partner because I'm just so cooked. Now, at the end of the day, I've been deeply fulfilled. I mean, earlier today, if you saw me, I was dancing, I was playful, I was living the dream. It was great.
Yeah.
But Emilia and I both have cup fillers that are similar, and then we have cup fillers that aren't. And one of the cup fillers for Emilia, whenever she's in nature, whenever we go on hikes or adventures, she is just blossoming. And I absolutely adore that. And whenever I get too much sun, I'm cooked like right now. But at the end of the day, you have to be very honest with whether or not you're not fulfilled.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure out what is the source of that.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, this client of mine who is not fulfilled, she's like, honestly, I don't really want much.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that we need to eat a little bit differently. And
There
that's,
you
I
go.
think, why you brought up the faux bowls and stuff like that.
Because you were unfulfilled in that arena.
I can't stand
Yeah.
eating chicken and rice every
Yeah.
day. And I honestly, I absolutely hate chicken breast.
Yeah.
And the faux bowls are delicious, and they're
Yeah.
perfect macros, and they're they're amazing. Yes, it's the absolute best.
Babe, I want to ask you something because I know you've studied this so much, and I think it would be really helpful for our listeners to really bring this in so that they can even lock in their intuition, their gut to what they already know, but at a deeper level. You've studied fulfillment so much, and you coach so many people to try to help them be even more fulfilled in their life, in every little pocket of their life. So how would you, for our listeners, define fulfillment? And just like naturally, where would you see, or how would you see it show up in your life if you're evaluating whether or not you're fulfilled?
I'm grateful that you asked that. Kevin, my other co-host and business partner, for Next Level University, he says, Alan, you've studied fulfillment for so long in your life that you don't realize that other people don't really know what you're talking about.
Right. Or what that word is or whatever.
So I want to give the origin story of where fulfillment was born for me.
Yeah.
And I was in my early 20s, and my mom essentially said, why do you care so much about intelligence?
Yeah.
And for me, I've always been a really, really strong academic, and I cared about knowing everything I could about everything and about everyone, and about, I was studying the world, I was studying myself, I was studying other people. I think the studying myself came a little later. But anyways, my mom didn't understand why I cared so much about knowing everything. I've been so curious, and I want to understand every science, everything.
I love it.
And thank you, sweetheart. And so she said, why does intelligence matter? And my short early 20s version was, it's the most important thing, which was not the answer she was looking for. It's like, that's not really why I asked. And I said, well, you can't make good decisions without intelligence. And I said, what's the difference between a dumb phone and a smartphone, quote unquote? Is the smartphone is more capable. You can do more with it. And so intelligence to me is capabilities. It gives you the opportunity to do things you couldn't normally do. So what does this have to do with fulfillment? I eventually ended up saying to my mom, now for our listeners, when I share this origin story of where fulfillment was born for me, I want to give some context. The first thing I want to say is I grew up in an arena where very few humans were fulfilled.
Yeah.
They were really pleasure seeking, and they didn't really have fulfilling lives or fulfilling relationships, certainly not fulfilling marriages. And I remember I was so scared of marriage because I just looked around and it was like, this looks terrible to me.
How did it show up? Was it in people's like facial expressions? Was it in their body, their posture? Like
everybody hated their jobs.
Yeah.
Everybody was kind of not, like husbands and wives wouldn't get along very well. There was only two couples I found in my whole early upbringing that I aspired to. Sharon and Giff, shout out to Sharon and Giff, and George and Louise. And I'm not going to give last names, of course, but at the end of the day, there was only two couples I could find that I was like, oh my God, that actually looks great.
Yeah,
that marriage, this marriage thing actually looks good in those fulfilling relationships.
Yeah.
So the long story long here is I said to my mom, and this is my 20-year-old ego version, I said, Mom, I'm trying to figure out the formula to not end up old and miserable like everybody else. Now, that sounds mean, but I actually meant it. I was like, literally, I'm a big math guy. So for me, it was like, no, I'm actually trying to find the formula out. No offense to everyone else who's miserable. I just don't want to end up like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to end up, retired and unhappy and unfulfilled and blah, blah, blah.
Hey everyone, this is Alicia Romanowitz. I wanted to take a second and give a shout out to Alan and Emilia. I've been listening to Next Level University podcast for a while now, and I've also joined in on group coaching and book club, and I've gained so much value from these. And recently, I have started listening to the Conscious Couple podcast, and then joined in on their monthly meetups with relationship talks. And from here, my wife and I decided to jump on a call with them, and we had a few questions. This has just been a great experience. They not only provided us with some great tips and things to implement, they also got back with us and to check and see how we were doing. And that has just meant so much to my wife and I. And I just really wanted to give a shout out and thank them so much. And if you haven't had a chance to listen to the podcast or join in on the relationship talks, I highly recommend that. And also just jump on a call with them and get to know them a little bit better and just really lean into this resource. It's just been so valuable and I really appreciate it.
So anyways, I think fulfillment is a feeling that is more than just a momentary pleasure. So Emilia and I have these sweet tart little rope candies that we enjoy, and it's a pleasure. It's delicious, but it's not going to fulfill you.
Last 3 seconds.
And so the shortest possible definition of fulfillment that I can give is there's joy, there's pleasure, and there's fulfillment. And I think happiness is a combination of all three. Joy is being and enjoying in the moment. So right now, if I was enjoying myself, I would be in joy. I can't authentically say that I fully am because I'm cooked, but I'm kind of actually picking myself up here. So I'm kind of enjoying this. Okay, so I'm in joy, sort of. Number 2 is pleasure. Pleasure is if then. If I enjoy this sweet tart, then I will feel pleasure. If I have a good workout, then I will feel good about myself. If Emilia and I podcast well right now, then I will have a dopamine hit. I will feel good. Fulfillment is lasting. Regardless of whether or not I feel good right now, I'm still going to be fulfilled that I showed up for the listeners. Even though I'm not going to be thrilled with my performance, I'm going to be fulfilled in the fact that I am the type of person who shows up and is consistent and adds value to our community and to our listeners. Fulfillment is something I call the soul's recognition of alignment with your highest calling. I believe it's when your passion, your purpose, and your profit all align. And I believe that that's what we're doing right now. We're passionate about relationships. Our timers are about to go. We're both passionate about intimate relationships. We're passionate about our relationship. And then our purpose is sharing that with our listeners so they can flourish in their relationship. And then we do that for a profit in coaching, not necessarily on this podcast. Obviously, this podcast is free.
Yeah.
But I believe fulfillment is the long and short of it is it's a feeling that goes beyond momentary pleasure. And if you're unfulfilled in your relationship, you can feel it. Life just feels a little bit dull.
Yeah.
You're bored.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, I don't know why. I just kind of feel like crap. And even though you might still have pleasure or you might still enjoy certain things, overall, you just feel a little bit hopeless and nihilistic. And someone who's fulfilled is just a happy duck. And they just are charged. They're engaged. They love their life. They love their future. And they love who they're becoming.
Yeah. Beautifully said, babe.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you for sharing that with our listeners. So now hopefully you all can kind of see what it looks like, what it feels like. You know, if it quacks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it must be a duck. So if you're seeing just happy faces, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're fulfilled, right? And I think that the opposition of that unfulfillment looks like the dull, looks like the gloomy, looks like the hopeless, looks like maybe waves of depressive states and thoughts, and maybe even some regret or some guilt underneath things that you could have done that you wanted to honor about yourself, but you didn't. So I have a question here for our listeners. What has helped me so much, love? And you've brought the number scale into my life, which was one of my missions when it came to helping people in relationships, which was bringing numbers and relationships together. 0 to 10, how fulfilled have I been recently? And you can swap that word out recently for the last week. 0 to 10, how fulfilled have I been in the last day, the last 2 days, the last week, the last 3 weeks, whatever the time frame that you want to kind of put recently to, I encourage you to ask yourself that question, because when you ask yourself that question, you start digging in an area where you might not have realized there are answers there, or maybe there's an unconscious avoidance to actually acknowledging, like your client had said, well, I'm afraid to tell him. So maybe you're afraid of the judgment of what other people will have to do or say or react when you actually express what your needs, what your desires, and what your hopes are in order for you to be fulfilled. That's the thing. I think that a lot of us fear that our fulfillment technically hinges on a lot of other people, but not if we're just keeping that quiet. all of that fulfillment can be unlocked if you're asking yourself these questions and then bringing whatever you find into your relationship. So I encourage our listeners to ask themselves, to give themselves that permission slip that you might be looking for. 0 to 10, how fulfilled have I been recently?
And now if you give yourself a 5 or a 6 or a 4 or a 3 or any low number, the next question is why? Not why from a, oh, poor me place, but why from a, what would get you closer to a 10?
Beautiful. Yep.
What would get you closer to a 10? Because earlier this week when Emilia and I had a discussion about this, I could tell that she was feeling a little bit unfulfilled. And I just
Happy cries.
Yeah. There was just a moment where I came into her office and I was like, oh, okay, she's not a happy duck. And normally she's the most fulfilled butterfly ever, just bright, bright, bright. And so I could tell something was off. Meaning something is outside of alignment.
Yeah.
And what was outside of alignment was we aren't going on enough adventures. There's not enough nature. There's not enough outdoors. But it was me asking why. Like, sweetheart, I notice you're not feeling super fulfilled right now. You're a little bit prickly, whatever it might be. And she's like, not that I'm aware of. And then we dug into it. And eventually it's like, honestly, I am a little upset that the summer's over. You know, fall is coming and winter is coming and we didn't spend a lot of time outside.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Now what can we do about that? Today was a really nice day and now you're more fulfilled. So the goal here is not to just get stuck in, oh crap, I'm not fulfilled and not, oh, she's not fulfilled with me.
There.
And you don't want to live there. You don't want to catastrophize this. You know, the sky is not falling is a good quote that I use for myself sometimes, where it's like, okay, the sky is not falling. It's okay. We can figure this out.
Yeah.
And when you dig underneath there, that's where all the gold is buried. And then you can make these pivots. So just like my client, I said, you might be pleasantly surprised what's going to happen when you bring this up to him. He's probably, oh, okay, you know, no problem. Let's try this. Let's do this. Let's try this.
Right.
You know, the only way you're going to get more fulfilled is if you bring it up. And I know that takes courage and vulnerability. And I encourage everyone to do that. At least have the discussion, because maybe your partner's less fulfilled than they used to be too. And maybe it's just the monotony and the habit. And maybe there's something you can do to spice it up, whether it's faux bowls or adventures or whatever.
Absolutely. And that's where it brings the creativity that is so important to be in relationships. Oftentimes we literally suck the creativity out of our relationships, and then we become these old shriveled up people who hate our lives. And we, as conscious couples and conscious singles, do not want that happening to us. So we encourage you to ask yourself these questions and to let that inspire the creative conversations that you'll have thereafter. So we hope that this episode was helpful to you and for you, and it gave you that permission slip that you need. I have an invite to all of you listeners. We would love to see you at our next Relationship Talks event, which is number 27 for us. So we've done 27 in a row, monthly consistent, thanks to my honey. And this one is going to be this coming Thursday. So this episode is dropping Monday. So we're recording this Sunday. It's dropping on Monday. And this Relationship Talks event is on Thursday. So join us. It's at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Completely free. It's live and it's virtual. So you can literally join us, camera, mic off, whatever, just listen in. It is how to get on the same page about money. And you're definitely going to be there if you've ever struggled around this money topic, and especially when it comes to your intimate relationship. So we hope to see you there. Please join us. It will help change your life, and I can guarantee that. So the link will be in the show notes, and we hope to see you.
You're so cute right now.
I love nature.
You're so cute right now.
It makes so much a difference.
You said gonna be there.
You're gonna wanna be there.
Gonna be there.
And I'm gonna wanna see you there.
My sweetheart. You have flowers behind you too now?
Do I?
I don't know if you knew that. Yeah.
Oh,
That's really pretty.
Thanks.
Yeah, the flower.
Sunshine
So my
flowers.
angle, I don't think anyone can see it on YouTube, but you've got a big bouquet of flowers behind you.
I
so
do.
It's very, very
Are they
sweet.
looking like a crown? Right here?
Kind of, yeah.
Cute.
Very, very sweet. With
Thanks.
sunflowers or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so Emilia and I not only have done 27 months in a row of Relationship Talks events, and the reason we're saying that is not to brag. We're saying that because we are figuring out things that can help you tremendously. We've also been doing Relationship Talks coaching for 3 years now. We actually looked it up right before this episode, and our very first Relationship Talks coaching call was on October 17th of 2020.
Crazy.
Which, according to Emilia's math, was 6 years ago. I'm kidding.
I thought you said 2017.
I know. She thought I said 2017. I'm being playful. But so we've been doing relationship talks coaching for 3 years now. We've been coaching couples for 3 years. It is wild.
Amazing.
So if you want to do that, we highly recommend it. The link will be in the show notes. But really the reason why to do that is if you and your partner have been struggling lately, you feel like you're not on the same page, you feel like you're growing apart, here's what I want to share. If you are in love and you feel like you and your partner are growing apart, have the humility and the courage to sign up. We will help you start growing together. You can come with your partner if you want, and if you're not in that place, you can come solo. But at the end of the day, you might regret if you continue growing apart if you don't come and seek help. It takes humility to seek help. You know, Emilia and I both have therapists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're putting in this work behind the scenes. And so we want to be there for you. We want to be there for you, your marriage, your relationship, whatever it is. And so the link will be in the show notes, and we hope that you join us. The first one is free, and we'll talk to you then.
Perfect.
Anything you want to add before we go, love?
No, I'm looking forward for your sign off.
Oh, okay. So what is the sign off? Yeah. As always, thank you so much, listeners, for coming on this journey. Thank you for dealing with my half asleepness. And as always, it's not about you or me. It's about the we. We will talk to you next time.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Conscious Couples podcast. We love connecting with the Conscious Couples community, so please make sure you follow us on Instagram. I am at Evolve with Emilia, and Alan is Lazaros 88.
Also, if you or your partner resonated with this episode, leave us a review at the link in the show notes, and please share this with someone you love and care about.
Until next time, remember, it's not about you or me. It's about
the we.